All right. So we're ready to go? Oh. All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to another edition of Weddings Done Right Radio, the how to for the I do. This podcast is all about helping the wedding couples that are planning any sort of wedding, no matter where you live in the world, whether it's the UK and Ireland, the United States, or right here in Las Vegas. We are here to give you some wonderful advice, and it's my job, Jody Harris, CEO of Fun of Sight and Sound Events, to bring you the experts in their industry. And today, folks, I've been wanting to get this guest on my show for the longest time, and I'm super excited that she is here today. She is representing Makeup in the 702. It's the lead designer, the owner, the goddess herself, Megan Payne. Megan, thank you so much for being here.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. And again, we're about to have a whole bunch of fun because I am here with the CEO of Fun. So it is my pleasure to be here with you as well. So
thank you.
We'll plan our next date very soon.
Yeah,
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I'm so excited that you're here because we've been talking about this for the longest time. And I'm so passionate about hair and makeup. I think it's super critical that on your wedding that you look your best. I mean, we were talking about this behind the scenes a little while ago in our little production meeting that, a picture is what you're going to have. After the wedding is over,
Yes.
you're going to have lots of pictures. There's going to be professional pictures taken. Now with social media,
Oh.
there's right
All over.
all over. I mean, people are barring people from shooting at their weddings because, yeah,
Get out of the photographer's way.
yeah, and it's the one day, and correct me maybe if I'm wrong, folks, but I think it's the one day in your life that you get to feel like a princess or a prince. It's that one day that you're a supermodel.
You bet. You bet. Well, it's funny you would bring up supermodel because it's an unknown fact that on your wedding day, you will have more photos taken of you than a professional model does all year long.
Wow.
So depending upon your photographer, they could take up to 5,000 photos. Of course, there's some of those being detail shots of your cake, so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, it truly is more photos than a professional model. So if you think of it in those terms, you can really grasp the understanding of just how important hair and makeup is.
Oh.
So I've had a saying for years, and when I tell you all this saying, please know to all my friends out there and all my vendor friends that I'm not negating what it is that you all do for this client at the wedding. But brides, you've got to think at the end of the day, what do you have left? After the flowers have wilted and the food has been eaten, you do have those photos left. These photos truly are the signature. They're the memory of your day. When we're talking about cinematography, and I highly recommend having a video there as well so that you can have your day documented in a different way. But through your still photos, those are going to be the photos that hang on your wall for years and years and years to come. They are what your children, your grandchildren, everybody in the family will always look back to. And when we talk about professional hair and makeup, and we talk about, especially in this day and age, with high definition and the quality of the camera that your photographer has, it sees everything. It sees your flaw, it sees a dark shadow, it sees or it amplifies maybe a small blemish that you might have. So the coverage and the importance of having professional hair and makeup goes far beyond just saying, oh, I had a hair and makeup artist, woo, or checking it off the list. I really want to educate all of you as to what it is that we do and why we do it, and why or dismay some of the myths about what a professional makeup artist is and what is a makeup artist that, let's say, works at your local retail store and they represent a brand, and what the difference between the two is, and again, why you need to hire them.
Absolutely. So let's start from the beginning then. So we have an engaged couple, and obviously, where should they start? How do they find you, or how do they find a makeup artist?
That's really great. So for any couple that's getting married, obviously Google is our friend, and it is what it is this day and age. Just merely typing in some keywords that are important to you. So if you are looking for an updo, or if you're ethnic, or anything that okay, I want braids in my wedding hair. If you just merely Google in those images, Google will zero in and they know where you are, and you can start planning from there. It's probably going to bring you to wonderful resources such as Wedding Wire, The Knot, any myriad of blogs out there, styled shoots. So honing in, of course, on the area that you're going to get married is where you want to start.
What about this? Social media is so huge too. So I mean, Pinterest. I'm sure you mentioned Google, and I think that's a great place to start because we Google everything, right?
Everything.
But the Pinterests, your Instagrams. We talked a little bit about that as well.
Sure. So again, using Instagram hashtags like you would keywords with Google are really going to help you find, if not the hair and makeup artist team that you would hire, it's at least going to give you inspiration photos. And I think we're going to touch upon, some great resources on where to get your inspiration photos and helping everyone understand the importance of having photos and some direction for your hair and makeup artist.
When you talked about Google and you talked about searching and looking for a hair and makeup artist, I think A, that's a great place to start. And B, once you've narrowed down your selection, I think that's when you should probably go online and start following.
Absolutely. Yes. Well, again, we're in Las Vegas, so we have so many opportunities to be able to service the same clients. So that's anytime they're coming into town. They're coming into town to celebrate their bachelorette party. Then it's a wedding day. Then it's the anniversary.
That's true.
Maybe they'll come back for a shoot.
That's true.
They're coming back many, many times. So it's a great way to do that.
Yeah, it's a great. I mean, find the artist. What about the bridal shows? Are those? I mean, I know, I guess anybody with a checkbook could be in a bridal show. And
Sure.
Again, correct me if I'm wrong, because it's been a while since I've actually done a bridal show.
Sure.
But a lot of places will do trials. We'll have a booth at a bridal show, and they'll get their hair in an updo, or they'll braid it, or do something, or maybe put on false lashes or something like that. Is that another good place to go? Or
bridal shows are an amazing place because you will have unlimited resources where you literally could plan your wedding right then and there.
Of course.
So you have to walk into a bridal show with direction, though. So my suggestion is that you're attending 2 separate bridal shows. And that you're planning early. So walking into a bridal show just after you're engaged, of course you want to meet as many vendors as you possibly can. But there isn't a whole lot you can do at a bridal show as far as booking or planning the entire thing until you have your time and date and venue. That is of the utmost importance at the very beginning of your planning.
But can you truly choose a hair and makeup person at a bridal show? I mean, I know you're limited. Like if they find you on like your Instagram, or if they find you on Google, they can sit down and obviously, and I think you would recommend some sort of a meeting prior to.
Certainly.
At a bridal show, when they come in, it's really hard to spend that quality time, right?
It is. And while, certainly we love to give them a trial there, again, we don't have 1 hour with each client when we're at a bridal show. And that's what we want to give you. We want to give you that 5-star service that we're so well known for. So a bridal show, what one can expect when they walk in the door is to actually be able to get to meet the team.
Got it.
So that's what's most important. Is this a group of individuals, whether it's hair and makeup or any other part of your planning, is this a person that I can identify with? Can I just talk to them very easily? Are they social? Do they fit within ideal of who I want to deal with on my wedding day.
So it's an introduction.
It's an introduction.
It's like a date, right?
It's
like a first date.
We are definitely dating. So, and this one is actually the coffee date. So
Okay, it's the coffee date.
yeah, it's not dinner yet. So dinner is more like the trial.
But
so.
it is important that you do connect. Like if you're going to meet them in this sort of environment, that you do have you get to see what they're about.
Most certainly.
And you can't make you can make first impressions, but you really can't make a first impression. You know, you can, but you can't.
Yes. Well,
Because people only, like you said, you only have so much time to
talk to each one. And again, the shows, there's rows and rows and rows of different vendors for everything from flowers to venues, hair and makeup, your DJs, your photographers. So going in with a clear-cut plan of you want to meet one person. So don't walk into a bridal show blindly and just say, oh, I'm here. Let's see what there is to see.
Right.
Walk in with somewhat of a plan. As to, what vendors you're looking for and who you want to meet, because it's no surprise who is there.
But sometimes they don't even think about, I mean, I would think that they would think about hair and makeup. Maybe it's just me. I think about hair and makeup, but I would think that would be like I talked about in the beginning, like it's mandatory. Ladies, there's no ands, ifs, or buts. I need a husband or a wife, a partner,
Yes.
and I need hair and makeup, and I need a minister. You
Yes.
know, I mean, like that. I would think that people going into the bridal show would think that, but
I would like to think so, but I like to, how I can deal and accept clients and really service them is to always put myself in their shoes. And I have to realize, while I understand how important hair and makeup is, every photographer that I work with, and you, Jody, because you've called us for any number of occasions where you've had something special.
Yes.
So each person who walks in that bridal show door is very, very different, though. So some people, they're all about the cupcakes, and that's what they're going to hone in on. They're all about finding their photographer, or what's most important to them is that they have the most beautiful invitations ever. So they might just not be ready just yet for that hair and makeup piece. And that we understand. So what we do with those clients is we make sure that they have all of our information, and that when they're ready to plan that section of their wedding, that we are the very first people at the top of the list that they call.
Awesome.
So everybody's got a different priority when planning their wedding.
Sure.
Some things are more important than others to other people.
So we talked about the Google, we talked about the social media, we talked about the bridal show. What about just going into a department store and looking at cosmetics and then telling the lady at the counter, oh, well, I'm thinking about, I need to buy some makeup because I'm getting married.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
Let's talk a little bit about that.
So let's talk about the do-it-yourselfers and the salespeople in the makeup field. Let's say that. First of all, everybody has a mama, baby, sister, cousin who does makeup or hair. And it's something that we hear all the time on the phone or when we meet somebody in person, like, oh, we need you to do our makeup, but my sister does hair. Or, oh, my cousin's a makeup artist and she wants to give it to me as a gift. Well, that is all fine and dandy. And again, the hair and makeup industry is a large industry as a whole, and somebody knows somebody. Two things that I want you to keep in mind. First of all, do not hire or agree that somebody is going to do your hair and makeup for your wedding day if you have to sit across from them at the Thanksgiving table. Well, I just said it. Yes, I did. So if you have to sit across the way from this person and they're that personal in your life, you will not feel comfortable telling that person really what you think about their end result job. You will not feel comfortable because you won't want to, quote unquote, hurt their feelings. You won't be able to tell them, hey, I told you I wanted my hair up and it's not up. Or I want the natural look and you just made me look like bozo.
Right.
You're not going to be able to feel comfortable telling them that. So when you have the baby sister, mama, cousin who is in the industry and they've offered to do this, here's my best suggestion of what to say. While I really do love your work and I want you to be part of my wedding in a big way, as far as the hours leading up to the wedding and my wedding day, I don't want you to work.
Good.
You work every day and you work very, very hard. Please come to my wedding be a guest and enjoy.
Right.
That takes you off the spot.
Very
off
good.
the hook.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, as somebody who's been in the industry for years and had many family and friends, I'm appreciative if somebody says that. It is not that I don't want to do, like, even my best friend's wedding.
Sure.
Of course I want to do their hair and makeup.
Sure.
But the offering that I actually get to enjoy your event, being in the wedding industry, and that I don't have to work on your day,
I agree.
I like that.
I agree. Same thing in my given industry as well. My feelings are not going to get hurt if you decided to hire somebody else. Or you know what? Let me make a recommendation.
Yes.
You know, let me if you want me to do something good for you, let me recommend an industry colleague with amazing reviews. Almost
Absolutely.
2,000.
Thanks, Jerry.
Mike Walter, 2,000. Hey. But you know that's important too. You know the reviews. But you're right. But you're right though. I mean, you shouldn't. If your friend wants to do something for you, say, you know what, we're going to go out dancing. Why don't you do my hair for my bachelorette party?
Absolutely.
Because it's like you said, it's those wedding photos that are with you forever, and you're always going to associate a bad experience with that. When you look at that photo, you're always going to remember,
There is.
I asked her to do my, she had to make me over 3 different times because I
Absolutely.
hated all 3 looks.
And who wants that kind of stress on their day? And
No.
if this person is that important to you in their life or in your life, then they're important enough to keep in your life.
Sure.
And there's no quicker way to end a friendship or really put a big rock and hurdle in your family than hiring them or asking them to work for you, I hear. So
Absolutely. Now talk to me a little bit about the makeup counter. So you go at the department store and the people that say, "Oh, well, I'll do your makeup for you." And
Yes.
I know I have a colleague who does hair.
yes. So while that is not always the worst route, but I'm going to give you the true insider scoop. So while I've opened and run Makeup in the 702 as a hair and makeup agency for 13 years, I also have 10 years retail background behind me as well. So as a cosmetic manager, that's the reason I'm in Las Vegas. I was recruited from Chicago Bloomingdale's to come out here to Las Vegas and help reopen the Fashion Show Mall as we know it today.
Oh, wow.
So my retail background is as strong and as long-term as being a hair and makeup agent here in Las Vegas. So in retail, there was a saying of, hire for attitude, train for skill. So you hired the cute and the friendly people. Think about your experiences when you walk in those doors of whatever your favorite retailer is.
Sure.
They're hiring for attitude, not training for skill. So you never know what you're going to get anytime you sit down at the cosmetics counter. Is it their first day? How much experience do they have? Are they clean? Are they hygienic? What is it that they know? So that's the first thing is that these people that work in the department stores or the, I don't know if I can say this on air, the other stores, your Sephora's, your Ulta's, can I say those things?
Yeah.
So once again, they are not licensed.
Right.
They are not licensed by their state. They are not insured by their state. They are covered by the store that they work for. But again, you don't know about their hygienic and you don't know their talent level.
Sure. And you shouldn't be going into a store like that on your quote wedding day.
Correct.
And expect them to do your hair and makeup for you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'll go as far as to say, don't even go 2 months before, because here is the thing. When you are dealing with a makeup artist that is in retail, they're only trained in the brand that they sell. And that not every single brand, no matter how great it is, does not have every single product that is the best.
Correct. I've worked with you many times, and it's a plethora of all different kinds of stuff.
You bet.
On all different kinds of brands.
Absolutely.
From high-end brands to just regular stuff that that works.
You bet.
And I've actually sat in as you were training your makeup artist to work with new product or a different kind of foundation or whatever. So yeah, it's you're right. You cannot go expect to have your hair and makeup done by one brand.
Yes. While one brand might be known for outstanding blush, they might have really cruddy foundation.
Sure.
And one brand might have the best waterproof eyeliner off the hook, off the chain, but everything else in the brand isn't so good.
Absolutely.
So that's the second piece. So number one, they're there and they're hired by a brand. And you won't get the best experience or the most long lasting, because at the end of the day, that's really important as well. Your wedding day is a really long day.
Yes.
It could be up to 15 hours.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
so
Absolutely.
just
Thank you.
a little point of contention, we offer a 15-hour water and transfer resistant guarantee with our services. So that's through the tears of joy of the ceremony.
That's great.
And we are assuming, again, it's the desert. It's pretty hot here almost all days of the year.
Sure.
And so we want you to go out, eat, drink, and be merry. We want you to be able to cut up a rug on the dance floor, when you're their DJ and
Thank
they
you.
perspire a little. We want to make sure that they look the same the moment that they walk out of our chair as to when they're throwing rice at them at the end of the evening.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So is there a difference between airbrushing foundation, because airbrushing and then just doing it out of the bottle in a sponge?
Yes.
Does airbrush last longer? Does the sponge last longer?
That actually is the most frequently asked question that I
Yay.
have. So kudos for knowing your stuff. So I'm happy to talk about that. And it because it's asked so often, actually, there is a huge section on my website and through our blog talking about the myths, dismaying them, what's better, what's going to last.
So for our listeners here,
So-
the Reader's Digest version is...
Yes, so I'll give you the full Monty. So technology, not only through cameras and so on and so forth, has been really good for us. And I've been a makeup artist since we were doing 35 millimeters. So it's been a long time. These days we have traditional foundations, which is the proper term, traditional or airbrush. Traditional foundations that are HD friendly.
Yes.
And they are long lasting and they are wonderful. So let's break it down. What is the difference? So first and foremost, because we are all inclusive, we do not, at the time of signing, charge additional for airbrushing, even though it is a better technique, it's longer lasting, and there's way more benefits to it over traditional foundations.
So some companies would charge more
They
then?
do, up to
Okay.
$50 more, just because it's quote unquote airbrush.
Okay.
So airbrush, and I also want to bear this in mind, you guys, airbrush is a very generic term. Airbrush is like all natural in the grocery store. What does all natural really mean? What does airbrushing really mean?
Sure.
So I want you to be very, very clear with your makeup artist as you're talking about airbrushing so that you know what you're getting and what you're paying for, especially if they're charging extra for it. So airbrushing refers to not just the application technique, meaning using a physical compressor. It also refers to the foundation that goes in the airbrush compressor and is applied to the face. So going back to being all-inclusive, traditional and airbrushing formulas, the reason that we offer the client the choice at the same price is so that that client and the artist can decide together which is the best end result for them. Because there are a slight few that traditional foundations would be better over airbrush foundation. So who is better for traditional foundation? That's anybody with a bunch of texture on their skin. So remember this and remember it clear.
Bunch of texture on your skin. Okay.
So take a look at the wall that's next to you. You can see that it has texture. So again, I can paint that wall blue, black, green, purple. It doesn't matter. I can make it any color. But texture is texture, and it's still going to come through in the foundation. So to make sure that you all know, please do not expect a traditional or an airbrush foundation to fix the texture of your face. You have to fix that texture by skincare, taking care of it, doing microdermabrasion, doing anything. Texture's texture. The textures, types of skin that airbrushing is not good for is somebody who is very advanced maternal age. We're talking about your grandma who is 80, who has a lot of age in her skin.
Okay.
Traditional foundation would be much better for her.
So you're talking about the wrinkles and stuff like that?
Not just fine lines and not just some smile lines and some wrinkles. We're talking about someone at extreme advanced age who has lost all of their collagen in their skin. And it's really just drooping down.
Oh, okay.
Is the best way to describe it.
Got it.
for radio purposes.
Yeah. No. Yeah, because we're on radio.
Sure.
Even though some
sure.
people are watching us on YouTube. Hey. But yeah.
The other texture is if you are a past acne person, meaning that you have lots of what they call an orange peel texture skin. We're not talking a little bit. We're saying that you have lots and lots and lots of dents that looks like an orange peel or the tip of a golf ball.
So like James Edward Olmos kind of guy.
Correct. So traditional foundation and definitely a lot of other application techniques would be better for your skin type. Everybody else, traditional or airbrush foundation is a far superior product. It's a far superior product for so many reasons. So first and foremost, I can only speak to what we do at Makeup in the 702 because we are the real deal when it comes to airbrushing.
Right.
Remember how we talked about all natural and airbrushing being very generic? Beware, everybody, as you're doing your airbrush makeup artist research. Airbrushing as a generic term is just that. First of all, there's infomercials out there for at-home airbrushing.
Yes.
You guys, everybody's seen them. Please let me tell you that that is not the airbrushing that is a professional airbrushing technique. While it might be okay for at-home use, maybe that's not the technique that is for your professional photos, nor is it the foundation that we would use for professional photos and to be long-lasting. Number two, I have seen cosmetic companies out there and those local department stores we love so much that put foundation in an aerosol can and they're marketing it as airbrush.
Wow.
So while there is, air, it's aerosol. It's not airbrushing. So I want to make sure that you all understand the difference between all natural and airbrushing and dismay those myths. So the benefits of airbrushing. Why do we offer it? As well as why do we make traditional foundation and airbrushing the same price? Because we don't want someone to have to choose based upon price a much superior product. At the end of the day, we just want the day to be perfect for you. We want to make sure that your makeup is long lasting and that your photos really and truly are long lasting, or timeless, classic. So through airbrushing, we are able to custom blend each person's color right there on location. So that means that we can cover every end of the spectrum, from somebody who is very, very fair from England because there's not a lot of sun, all the way to somebody who is a very, very dark African American and everything in between, because we physically make that foundation. We are not trying to guess color swatching on the side of your neck like they do in department stores and giving you the best match we can. We are matching you. Period. The other point of airbrush foundation is we are not just airbrushing your face, but we are taking it down the neck, the chest, the décolleté, the arms, the back, basically half body or any piece of skin showing beyond the dress. So what that does is impart a magazine cover perfect look, both in person as well as in photos.
So important that you brought that up.
Yes.
I didn't even think about that in my notes. You're right. What about the rest
All
of
of
your... Yeah.
The décolleté area is famous for having redness because it's the area of our body that is exposed to the sun all of the months of the year. It's not protected. It's very thin. So we're able to get rid of the redness. When you get rid of that redness, if you're a mother of the bride, we just took 10 years off.
Yeah, you certainly did.
If you have, any blemishes or dark spots or skin discoloration, we're able to get rid of that. You look magazine cover perfect before your photographer ever edits your photos.
So that should be, this piece of advice about the airbrushing versus the more traditional, really a very good makeup artist will point you in the right direction.
In the right direction. Lastly, all those people with those little tan lines, they don't look so pretty on camera. So we're able to get rid of your tan lines. It's my biggest pet peeve when I see other makeup artists work where, everything might be beautiful, but what's sticking out as a sore thumb that I knew they could have taken care of in 2 minutes are those tan lines because it's very distracting in your photo.
What about the tattoo coverage? Is that big now? I mean, are people proud of their tattoos? Are they,
Yeah, again, you're speaking to somebody who's been in the industry for a long time. While it used to be much more common practice to cover those tattoos, it's less and less because tattoos as a society are becoming more and more accepted. We still do have a handful every single month of people who do want a tattoo coverage, and we absolutely can do that. Please know a couple different things about tattoo coverage. So the first question somebody's always going to ask is, how much is it? So you're going to need to provide for your makeup artist a quick selfie of how big your tattoo is and how many colors it is. So there's a big difference in cost and time on a tattoo that's the size of a quarter or the tattoo that's the size of a palm of your hand.
Just like with hair. Hair could be long, hair could be short.
You bet. You bet.
Same thing.
So
that makes... Oh, awesome.
The process of tattoo coverage is much different, and I always want to convey that the water transfer resistant guarantee does not always apply to tattoo coverage. So be aware of that when you move forward with tattoo coverage, that is not the day to be rubbing up against your arm and letting people, bear hug you, so on and so forth.
Okay.
And the reason for that is depending upon your tattoo artist and how your skin healed is going to have all of the difference on how much product and how many layers we have to put on to cover your tattoo.
Got it.
So for every single color in your tattoo, we need to go back and outline and do a counter color for that. So if you have red, we're going to have to counter color and put green on just that spot. If you have yellow, we have to counter color and put another color, and so on and so forth. So there may be several colors just to get rid of your tattoo color, then we work on the black. So know one thing always is that even though we can diminish all of the color of your tattoo, your raised skin of your tattoo, the etch, meaning the healing of your skin, is always going to show through.
I never thought, this is so eye-opening to me, because I always thought somebody would just take, traditional bottle and just go, but there's a real process to this.
There certainly is. If you want it to be long-lasting, of course, there are products out there that you can purchase at your Sephora's or wherever that say, this is for your tattoo coverage or Dermablend or whatever.
Right.
And while it might cover it for the hour, but
this is your wedding day.
This is your wedding day. It's going to get all over your dress. It's going to get all over everybody else.
That's the worst.
Yeah.
That is the absolute worst. You are hugging and it's so embarrassing to have your face on somebody's dark jacket or your fiance's black tuxedo.
You bet. You bet. So we guarantee transfer resistant makeup as well. But bear in mind, brides, this is your wedding day. So you are not going to bear hug people the way that you normally would. You are in a gown. Remember to act appropriately, ladies.
Hey,
you know what I mean? Don't be that one at the end of the bar.
Well, when they get to the party.
Exactly. But play the role that you're in.
I mean, princess.
For sure. So if you perspire, you're not going to take the back of your arm and wipe your perspiration away like, a farmer would.
Sure. Yeah, you would hope not.
Play the part.
Play the part. Exactly. No, that's good. What's really big now is lashes.
Love. They're a game changer, guys.
They really are. I mean, I've had mine done, as you know, and I'm due for a fill. But I love it. So should you go with the real lash, should you have a lash extensions or should you just go with the stuff that you could buy at the store?
You bet. So first of all, everybody in the wedding party gets lashes when they book makeup with us. So that's part of being all inclusive. We know that lashes are a game changer, and here's why they're a game changer. Is this because all of your outdoor photos, there's bright sunlight and people have a tendency to squint. So it helps to open up your eyes in the outdoor photos. Now, when you move into your reception, it's just the alternative. In low lighting, eyes get hidden in your in your photos. So once again, they help to open up the eyes. They make you look alive. They make you look awake. If you have small eyes, they make them appear larger. If you have large eyes, pabow, there they are. They're there.
Yeah.
So here's, to answer your question, that is a personal preference. Meaning, if you are a person who wants a long-term solution to having lashes and you're willing to keep up with the cost and the upkeep, hands down, lash extensions probably one of the biggest things to happen in this decade as far as beauty.
And when you say upkeep, what are you talking about exactly?
Yes. So lash extensions require every 2 to 3 weeks, depending upon your lash growth, a fill. So it's time, money, and energy that you want to consider when you're talking about what I'll say. It's truly an investment.
Yeah.
It's not something that you just do once and say, yeah, I'm done. It's a commitment. So if you are committed to that look and it's something that you really want, be prepared to about twice a month have 2 hours of your month spent laying down with your eyes closed, which is the best. That's my nap time. But there's a cost forward. So depending upon the salon that you find locally to do that, it's anywhere from $50 to $85 for lash fills. So it's a cost forward and it's an expense, but one that's well worth it.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah.
If that's not your thing though, having strip lashes on your wedding day or individual lashes is the way to go. It is a game changer. I've said it 4 times now. Do not consider not wearing lashes.
Mm-hmm. Don't think you can get the same look with a mascara wand. No matter how great the commercial is for, there'll be...
You bet. You bet.
I mean, like you said, you're like, it's like being a professional model the day of your wedding.
Yes.
It really is.
You have to pull out all the stops. And again, if you're budget conscious or budget, concerned, which who isn't? We all spend a lot of time, money, and energy in our planning. Again, lash extensions, wonderful, but you're looking at, at the end of the day, $300, $400, $500, $600 by the time, your wedding comes for lash upkeep. Well, you've just paid for your hair and makeup threefold.
Right. And how soon, how soon should somebody go in for a trial run with, and I know we haven't talked on hair and we probably have to bring you back to really talk about hair.
Let's do it.
But how soon should the process start? Is it a month out, a week out?
It's a good question.
A year out?
So first I want to point out, Makeup in the 702 is in Las Vegas. We're a destination city. So 90% of my clients hit the ground running and they simply don't have time for a trial. So you need to, if that's you, regardless of your destination city, and you cannot do a trial, what other alternatives do you have? So of course, having conversations, true conversations, what I like to call an over-the-phone trial, just so that I can take some notes and have some understanding of what it is that you want to do on your wedding day. So with or without a trial, the master artistry and hair skills of our team, we don't need a trial to hit a home run out of the ballpark. Here's why we love trials. Number one, we get to meet you first. And then when we're there on the wedding day, it's like old friends again. So it is great to meet you first, but you don't have to have a trial with our company to have a success. So when to do a trial? So our suggestion is to do a trial for a special occasion, meaning do it for a dress fitting, which is my very favorite.
Oh, that's cool. I never thought of that.
Yes, because you're standing in front of huge mirrors. You can see yourself, top to bottom, all angles, and you'll know exactly what you're going to look like on that wedding day when you do your hair trial before your dress fitting.
That's good.
Another great photogenic opportunity and a really good value is if you're doing engagement photos.
Sure.
Because it's another opportunity that you're going to need professional hair and makeup. So the difference between hair and makeup on a trial day for engagement photos and hair and makeup on a trial day for a wedding is going to be very different because the look and the occasion calls for something different. We are not in a suit and tuxedo, typically, and a formal gown with the ceremony as we would on the wedding day. So the look will vary. I want to really emphasize this and drive it home is that ladies, do not book a trial before you book the hair and makeup company, meaning a trial shouldn't be your end all be all onto whether you are hiring a hair and makeup company. Meaning if you don't have enough trust in me to book your trial along with your wedding day contract, we have a missing piece and a missing element, and I'm not doing my job communicating to you what we're able to achieve for you. Meaning, do not use a trial as a way to find your hair and makeup company. Your trial should be utilized to iron out the details of your day. End of story. Otherwise, if that's how you're using it and you're budget conscious, which everybody is, I just got to put that out there, you're going to have 2 to 3 to 4 trials because don't base a trial based on price. Don't base a trial on, I'm just going to try and see what it's like. have a clear-cut direction, sign a contract, make that commitment to that person, let them educate you. We prepare everybody for trials and wedding days with emails and videos and links. This is where you should go for inspiration. Don't forget your inspiration photos. Have you thought about this? And here is a list of do's and don'ts on how to prepare yourself and your wedding day party for their hair and makeup appointments. We will set you up for success. So set yourself up for success when it comes to a trial, that if you have the time and the budget to do a trial, you're already doing that trial with the company that you've already hired so that you're building that relationship. It's ironing out the details. Do you want your hair all up, all down? Do you want brown liner or black liner? Making sure that you understand what it feels like, especially if you're a person that doesn't wear a whole lot of makeup day in and day out. That's what the trial should be used for, not to try out the company. You don't go to a cake tasting, to try the cake. You're going there because that's who you hired to bake your cake already.
Right. No. And the same thing with the food. Same thing with the venue as well.
Already hired the venue.
You've already hired the venue, and so they set you up with the tasting.
Yes.
No. I think that's amazing advice, and I also think you have to have a lot of trust. I think there should be a lot of trust with any company that you hire. You should feel comfortable with them. You should trust them. Again, we talked about reviews. We talked about follow them on their Instagram.
Yes.
Are they social media? Social media. Hey, are they social media? Are they social media savvy? When was the last time they posted a photo of a couple with their hair and makeup? Was it 1982 or was it 2 weeks ago?
It's so easy to track somebody in this day and age through all of the social media elements, through websites, through Google, through blogging. I mean, are you dealing with somebody, again, it's so important in the hair and makeup industry. Are you dealing with somebody that is reputable, that you know is going to show up? There are hair and makeup artists, and I get these phone calls every single day. The person didn't show up. Can you come?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, because unfortunately in my industry, it's also a little flighty.
Yeah. How important are the referrals of photographers and videographers? And I think you might have touched on this in the beginning. You said that they're very important.
They're extremely important. And what is important to anybody who comes after hair and makeup, which is everybody, please let me emphasize, we understand the responsibility that we have as the very first vendor. We're the ones who start the day off, and how hair and makeup goes is going to affect the entire feel for the entire day.
It certainly does.
If it's late, you're late. If it's rush, stressed, and pressed, you're rush, stressed, and pressed. If it doesn't go well, you're going to not feel great walking down the aisle.
Sure.
So getting back to answer your question about the vendors, every vendor, especially those photographers, because they're next up, and or your planner, they want to work with those people, especially those photographers, that they don't have to spend hours and hours and hours in the editing booth. End of story. They always look up for what I understand is right out of the camera, a shot right out of the camera.
Yes.
And that any editing that they're doing, they're not actually editing the makeup, they're editing other things out.
Sure.
Like a tree branch or,
a shadow maybe
all
on
of that.
Something. Or,
that's
something
what they're editing. They're not editing the face, and they're not editing tan lines. Watch that, ladies.
Yeah. No, that's great advice. We got to bring you back because there's so much more to talk. There's so much to talk about. How does and great advice. I mean, everything. You've opened my eyes to so many. I had these notes here, and I'm like, no, this is all good. How does one Megan get in touch with you?
Well, you can pick up that phone. You can even text message me 702-301-1912. 702-301-1912. You can email me at megan@makeupinthe702.com, or please, I would prefer if you went to go look at our body of work
I was
first.
just going to say that. You've got, she's the Instagram queen of Instagram.
So you can find us on Instagram, Pinterest,
and what's
Facebook.
your Instagram? All Makeup in the 702?
All Makeup in the 702. And then the website, very, very important, because while social media posts what's present, you also need to see the history and all of the other great things that we have on the website. So that website is www.lasvegaswedding-makeup.com.
Awesome. There you go. And I'll post all that information as well for our listeners. And we're going to bring it back. So
Thank you, Jody.
We're going to bring it back.
We will.
So thank you, everybody, for listening to this exciting edition of Weddings Done Right Radio, the how-to for the I Do. Once again, I am Jody Harris, and you can also find me at Sight and Sound, and also my brand new website, which is jodyharris.online. And we look forward to bringing Megan back, and we have more exciting guests to introduce you to, and we hope that your wedding is absolutely fantastic. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.